Let's go live now to Hostage Square in Tel Aviv. Eylon Levy is there, former Israeli government spokesperson and host of Israel State of a Nation podcast. Eylon, a very good morning to you.
An excellent morning to you, Mike.
Yes, fantastic to see you there. Fantastic to see the people there celebrating finally some news that they've been waiting for 738 days. Tell us a little bit about the atmosphere there.
Everyone here is one big blubbering mess. The square has been packed since before dawn. Israelis have been up all night waiting for the hostages to come home. And we're swinging between cheering for joy, spontaneous singing, and people really crying their hearts out. For 2 years, Israelis have been waiting to see the hostages return. There's a big whoop behind me. Let's see what's happening now. We know that 7 have been released back to the IDF. We're expecting another 13 live hostages. You're on TV. Yeah. 13 live hostages are going to be released in the course of the day, and we're expecting bodies as well. So it's going to be a very difficult day of mixed emotions.
It really is, because we understand that some of the families are not sure whether their loved ones are still alive. They're not sure which group they will be in, if you like.
Well, Hamas has given a list of the 20 hostages it says are alive, and that ratifies Israel's assessments based on its intelligence. 20 of the hostages are alive. Another 28 were murdered in captivity or on the day they were abducted, and Hamas took their bodies. Hamas is going to claim it doesn't know where some of the bodies are. The families fear it's going to try to hold on to some of those hostages as bargaining chips for the next war. It's going to be a very difficult process ahead. But right now, the families are about to see the hostages. We've had a really incredible development. Some of the hostages who are still in Hamas captivity have been allowed to have FaceTime calls with their families. So we're getting images of them speaking to their families from inside Hamas captivity. A day of incredibly intense emotions. Let's remember, President Trump is landing in just a few hours to speak in the Knesset. And tonight is the 2-year anniversary, according to the Israeli calendar. What are we seeing behind us now?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite...
The hostages are now... Mike, let me give you an update. The hostages are now... Officially, you're on TV. Say hello. The hostages are now officially inside Israel, just moments away from being reunited with their families.
Wow. What an extraordinary day. And I mean, in all of your time speaking to me, Eylon, did you ever think this day would come?
Personally, no. I was among the pessimists who thought this day would never come. I thought Hamas was going to hold on to them as insurance to survive the barbaric war that they started. And a lot of credit goes to President Trump for getting the Turks, the Qataris, who are Hamas's patrons, their state sponsors, on board to finally put pressure on Hamas to end this war. Look, let's see what condition we're going to get the hostages back in. We know one of them is coming back partially blind. We know some of them have been through the most horrific forms of torture. Say hello, you're on TV. Some of them have been through the most horrific forms of torture. But the important thing is they're alive and they're being reunited with their families.
Yes. And I guess they're going to be going to hospitals, I think, in Tel Aviv shortly after meeting their families to be examined and to be treated. I mean, you've seen other hostages being released. It's not an easy time for them, is it? Because we can't expect them to be in anything other than pretty poor health.
Right. They have been 2 years of being held in the most horrific conditions, underground, starved, tortured, abused. Many haven't seen sunlight in over 700 days. They get an initial medical check in the field. Then they're going to be taken to a nearby military base where they'll be able to freshen up. And then they will be put on helicopters and taken to hospitals around the country. And I expect that very soon we will see a helicopter passing right above this square to a nearby hospital in Tel Aviv, which will be an incredibly moving moment for the crowd here to see a helicopter with hostages right above our heads.
And what has it been like for you in Israel? Because ever since, from before October the 7th, 2023, I mean, you've been bombarded with rockets every single day coming in from Gaza. I mean, since the ceasefire kicked in, has that stopped?
On TV. The ceasefire has come into effect, and I have to say, long before the ceasefire came into effect, Israel did a bloody good job of destroying Hamas's missile capabilities. If on October 7th, Hamas fired 7,000 missiles, 5,000 missiles at Israel. On the 2-year anniversary, they were barely able to muster one. So the fighting has stopped. There are no more missiles, but we know that Israel is still surrounded by enemies that want to destroy it. There are still the Houthis in Yemen. Their slogan is officially death to Israel, curse the Jews. They still have ballistic missiles. And so just because the war on the Gaza front is over for now, it doesn't mean peace is breaking out in the Middle East. Israel is still surrounded by really barbarian terrorist armies that still want to destroy and murder everyone in this square and everyone in the country.
And as far as the peace summit is concerned in Egypt, we understand Mohammed Abbas is going to be there from the Palestinian Authority. What's he going to be saying about taking over the West Bank and possibly Gaza? And how do you keep Hamas out of the way?
Well, I have no idea what he's planning. The fact is that half of Gaza is still governed by Hamas. The Hamas terror state is still standing at the end of this war. It is refusing to disarm. It is refusing to demilitarize. It is refusing to de-radicalize. And that puts the future of the Trump peace plan in doubt. We're getting the hostages out. That's critical. But let's be in no doubt. Until Hamas lays down its arms, until those tunnels are destroyed, this crisis isn't really over. And that's why we need global pressure now on Hamas to see the full implementation of the Trump peace plan. Everyone in this square wants this to be the last Gaza war. But if Hamas is not disarmed, there will be a next Gaza war. It will be worse, and nobody wants that.
No. And as far as Hamas and their sort of manpower is concerned, I mean, do they still have as many people fighting on their behalf? Do they still have as many leaders in Gaza as they did have?
Yeah, Israel eliminated the entire top brass of the Hamas leadership. But they still have soldiers. Look, we know over 20,000 Hamas terrorists have been killed, but they're recruiting. What Hamas did was it hijacked aid trucks sent by, thank you, the British government, hijacked aid trucks, sold it, raised money, and used it to recruit new soldiers, including child soldiers. So Hamas is now showing a real show of force. It's cracking down on the street. It has been executing opponents on the streets of Gaza. It has no intention of giving up power. It is intending to reinforce its authoritarian terror state inside the Gaza Strip and to survive this war that it started in anticipation of the next one. That can't happen. Pressure now. If Keir Starmer does one thing in Egypt, beyond being there to cheerlead, it is to join the efforts to pressure Hamas to lay down its arms so we can finally put this conflict behind us.
Well, Marco Rubio says, as the Secretary of State, that the recognition of Palestine by Keir Starmer and by Emmanuel Macron, by Mark Carney, actually, you know, almost derailed the peace talks. And so, you know, up until now, Keir Starmer hasn't really done anybody any favours in Israel.
No, Keir Starmer, Mark Carney, Emmanuel Macron did worse than not contribute to the peace process. They actively sabotaged it at just a time that we needed pressure on Hamas to come up with its arms above its head and surrender. They were giving Hamas a reward for the October 7th massacre. And Starmer can't say he wasn't warned. Hamas had said a recognition of a non-existent Palestinian state is one of the fruits of the October 7th massacre. We can't get out of this war with Hamas feeling vindicated by the decision to go to war, thinking it was a good decision all along to burn people alive in their homes, to take hostages, to conduct the most horrific atrocities at a music festival, and then to wage that war from civilian clothes under civilian buildings. That's what recognition of the Palestinian state does. It tells Hamas, good job, we're going to give you a reward. So I think this is a moment for a lot of introspection, or should be for a lot of Western leaders. What was Trump able to do right by putting pressure on Hamas? And if we can't help, how at least do we get out of the way and stop causing more damage?
Yeah. That would be good. Just as we speak, Eylon, we're seeing some hostage, the vehicles containing the hostages just driving through from the Gaza Strip, presumably to the southern Israeli military base. The 7 hostages believed to be inside 3 cars, I think, hopefully very, very soon reunited with their loved ones. It's quite a remarkable thing to see.
It really is. It is a historic day. And everyone in this country is going to remember exactly where they were as the news came out that the living nightmare we have been enduring for the last 2 years was coming to an end.
Yeah. Eylon Levy, thank you.
The crowd is cheering behind me.
Yeah, they can see the cars.
That's the update.
That's brilliant. But long may you continue to cheer. Eylon Levy, thank you very much indeed. And thank you so much for being with us on such an incredible day. Former Israeli government spokesman live in Hostage Square, Tel Aviv there.